Cedric Raven stared at the lifeless body of Jason Clay, his mouth hanging open. Now that he was silenced forever, the tyrannical, bloodthirsty boy did not look like the bully of Mystic Blades. He did not appear as the one who nearly killed a child 3 years his junior. He just looked like a 15-year-old, untimely cut off from life. The expression frozen on his lifeless face was one of pure shock. Nathan Hayfield and Baylor Graham stood there above the vanquished Clay. Nathan, basking in triumph, and Baylor clutching his slightly cut neck. A trickle of blood ran between his fingers. Cedric shut his mouth and glowered at these two. Meanwhile, students from Mystic Blades stood around the clearing and started murmuring to each other.
"Since when was Nathan Hayfield so powerful? He defeated Jason like he was nothing. He caught him by surprise, that's all. Are you sure? Nathan doesn't have a drop of blood on him."
Cedric shook his head, clearing it. He barked at Merrick Symington. Immediately, the 50 students watching went silent.
"You, report this to the headmaster Blackwood immediately. He will wish to alert the Clays that their younger son is dead."
Merrick ran off without delay. Cedric whirled on Nathan and Baylor. He folded his arms and wrinkled his nose. He did not seem to possess satisfaction in confronting these two.
"I hope you're proud of yourself, Hayfield. A student lies dead by your hand. I do not think anything short of an axe blade will serve as a sentence for you."
Nathan stood his ground. From his studies of the past few days, he knew that Duke Godfrey Godrickson was a fierce proponent of righteous justice. If he was able to stand court in the Owl's Eye, he would surely get a fair trial. Cedric was bluffing, and he knew it.
"The Duke of Godricsland will not condemn a duel sanctioned by a noble witness, unless you are relinquishing your nobility."
The crowd smothered their laughter at Nathan's barbed comment toward Cedric Raven, but the son of High Lord Remus Raven disregarded the insult and shot back.
"I do not remember a duel taking place. I remember a slaughter. An innocent child, born to a noble family, brimming with potential, cut down in the prime of his youth. And I'm sure that's how the headmaster, the Duke, and everyone else will receive it. Does anyone dare challenge my memory?"
With the question, Cedric Raven turned to the crowd. They all shrank before his gaze. Nathan seethed in rage.
"Of course the nobility will not stand for truth. Foolish of me to expect it."
Cedric turned back to Nathan and Baylor, a smug look of contempt upon his face.
"Alas, poor little Hayfield. I wonder who they will execute first, you or your pathetic playmate?"
Baylor tugged on Nathan's sleeve.
"Come on, Nathan. We must leave. The nobility will back him, and that makes us as good as dead."
Nathan glared at his friend. "Would you relinquish your honor so easily? We are innocent, and the world will know it. If we fly, the world will see us as guilty before we can mount a defense in our own name." Baylor winced. Nathan felt a pang of guilt for insulting his friend. He placed his hand upon Baylor's shoulder. "Save thyself. I will clear both our names." Baylor glanced back up into Nathan's eyes with a look of fierce determination.
"Not a chance. We got ourselves here together, and together is how we shall leave it."
Nathan nodded. He turned back to Cedric Raven. "So, Cedric, was this the plan all along? To slay me, weaken my father, and then House Raven steals our lands and titles from us?" Cedric growled.
"A scurrilous accusation. Your titles and lands are not worth a flagon of cow's piss."
Nathan laughed.
"I have no doubt that is what you believed, until this flagon of cow piss hurt your own ambitions."
He took steps toward Cedric.
"Come now, little Raven. We need not wait for the headmaster or the Duke's men to settle this. We can settle it here and now."
He bent down and pulled his knife out of Jason Clay's skull. Nathan took a corner of the dead boy's tunic and wiped his bloody dagger off on it. All the while, his eyes never left those of Cedric. Cedric began to feel uneasy. Nathan Hayfield was clearly much more powerful than he seemed. He began to doubt whether he could match someone who slew Jason Clay so easily.
"Dost thou challenge me to a duel? On the heels of one that just finished?"
Nathan stood and nodded.
"Aye. Come on, Cedric. Why do you not show me how a real spiritual warrior defeats his foes?"
He then lowered his voice dramatically.
"Or art thou too afraid?"
Some shouts and jeers came from the crowd.
"Aye, Cedric, show him! He will not be taken off guard as Jason was. Wipe the smile off that little murderer's face."
Cedric clenched his jaw. He opened his mouth, just about to respond, but before any words could issue from his lips, a booming voice cut him off.
"Stop this, in the name of Duke Godrickson!"
Headmaster Drogan Blackwood marched into the clearing, followed by 6 of Godrickshaw's guards. His cloak trailed behind him as he towered over Nathan and Baylor.
"Nathan Hayfield and Baylor Graham, how dare you two stain the name of this academy with a foul murder?"
Nathan smiled tightly at the headmaster.
"Headmaster, so good of you to join us. I'm amazed you could make the time, considering how dedicated you are to avoiding interference in duels between students."
A shocked gasp passed through the crowd. The students assembled were shocked that Nathan could be so bold as to challenge the headmaster like this. Nathan felt Baylor tense at his side, but he nevertheless continued.
"But I suppose if the son of my wealthy patrons died, then I'd be forced to play nice."
The headmaster colored at Nathan's flagrant accusations.
"Such impertinence, boy! To call this a duel? Look at you! You are unscathed, and Clay is cut to ribbons. This clearly shows it was wanton murder. Guards, arrest these boys!"
The guards took a step forward, but Nathan held his hand up.
"Certainly the sworn men and women of Godrickshaw would not arrest innocents without hearing their plea."
The headmaster scoffed, but the guards held their place as Nathan continued.
"According to the Calandrian Code of Dueling, a sanctioned duel is any duel that takes place witnessed by a noble. Such duels are protected by the rules of honor."
The headmaster glowered at Nathan.
"So you did your reading while you recovered. I am impressed, considering how mediocre a student you were. Very well. Who was the noble who witnessed this duel?"
Nathan pointed a finger at Cedric. Headmaster Blackwood turned toward Cedric incredulously.
"Well, Cedric, what say you? Did you witness said duel?"
With barely a breath's pause, Cedric Raven responded.
"I'm afraid not, Headmaster. The young vagabond is grasping at straws."
The headmaster whirled on the assembled students.
"Did anyone see the sanctioning of the duel that took place?"
At that moment, all of the Mystic Blades students took a very keen interest in their boots. The headmaster grunted in frustration. Baylor stood forward.
"I can witness."
Blackwood chuckled.
"Believe him not, guards. This ruffian is Hayfield's lapdog."
"But I have proof."
Baylor pulled down his collar and showed the still fresh wound on his neck.
"Jason Clay nearly severed my throat. If Nathan hadn't slain him, then I would be dead in his stead."
The headmaster paused. Some of the guards looked toward him, unsure now as to what they should do. He stuttered.
"It is—"
Another shouting voice interrupted them again.
Which bastard was it that slew my nephew?
Two figures rushed into the clearing. One was a man in his 40s, bald, with a large beard. On his back, he carried a giant battle axe. Few knew him by his name, as he was a member of the Clay family. Most knew him by his reputation. It was his deft use of the blade in battle which gave him the name Golden Axe. His brother was Byram Clay, Jason's father, and the patriarch of the Clay family. Alongside Golden Axe was a much younger fellow, a teenager with a shaggy beard, but other than that, bearing a striking resemblance to the bully who lay dead there. This was Michael Clay. The headmaster bowed before Golden Axe.
It was the young man over there.
Turning his gaze upon Nathan and Baylor, Michael produced a hand axe from his belt and lunged forward, as if ready to cut down the other two. A pair of guards got in his way. Michael roared in frustration.
Out of the way, you hedge-born cankers! I need vengeance for my little brother.
Nathan spoke around the guards.
You cannot avenge someone who sought his own end. I am more than willing to put thy overactive tongue to the test.
Golden Axe placed his hand on his living nephew's shoulder.
Calm thyself. Headmaster Blackwood can mete out justice impartially. We have no need to impose upon his will.
Nathan laughed. The entire assembled group of students, the Clays, the guards, the headmaster, and Baylor, all looked at him as if he was mad.
Of course you do not impose upon his will. You know well that Headmaster Blackwood has no will. Nor do you. Nor does Cedric. Nor even did Jason. Their will is that of High Lord Remus Raven, and he knows well that the High Lord Raven will not suffer such insults from an upstart Hayfield.
The headmaster attempted to interrupt Nathan.
I have had enough of this nonsense. Guards!
Will you kill us here, headmaster? Heavens forfend that we might be taken before the Duke. Then we might see a semblance of justice. But based on what I have beheld here, I slightly doubt that truth and honor mean anything in Godric's land. Behold, the head of the Mystic Blades Academy. He will look at a boy who barely escaped death and claim the scar on his throat is counterfeit. Anything to appease his master.
The guards lowered their spears and approached Nathan and Baylor. They marched steadily forward. Nathan's grip tightened on his dagger. He began strategizing combat moves. He did not wish to take innocent lives, but if the other option was to have his life snuffed out by the minions of the High Lord Raven, he had no choice. He murmured softly to Baylor,
Get ready to run.
6 guards. He had not tested this level of his abilities yet in battle, but there was always to be a first time. He twirled his dagger so its blade faced upwards. That way, he would have mobility. Most suits of plate armor were weak in the joints, so he could disable 3 soldiers by aiming for their necks, knees, elbows, and underarms. He would show the headmaster and his cronies the price of believing a raven's falsehood.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.